Alright, so this is my next tutorial. Today we're going to learn about how to make a light flicker on and off. So a flickering light. Let's say if you wanted to make a post-apocalyptic world and you wanted to make just a light bulb just standing there flickering on in life realistically. I have built a stage called Resident Evil of Trials, and there's already one pre-made on there that took me a couple of minutes or almost an hour to make. Right here there is a lightning extension right here that I've built. So what I did is I used an on trigger to turn on the state. All I use is a simple trigger with the bike, a simple trigger event, and then I used two intervals, which is an interval trigger. I put it at 10 seconds, right? 600 ticks on all of them, but I also turned them off so this could turn it on. Now while this turns on, I have two toggle state events, and then I have two more off intervals, and these intervals will be displaying at start tick at 3.50 and 133. The max impulses sent count is 8 flickers, right? And it will share the same value with the flickers. You could play around with these settings to get a different version of a flicker. This is my flicker. You wanted to restart in checkpoint, reset when able, make sure to disable after an impulse, okay? Or else this will not work, okay? You could use in impulse splitters to make this more accurate, and then you're going to it's going to share the event now here with a color event. So the bulb I'm going to be displaying, or actually the color, right, is going to be a block. I made a window here, and I made some stairs. You're going to see why the stairs are there, okay? And this object right here, you see how it blinks and then it goes away? So it is a black object, a black tile, alright, that has the color, the emission, which is the glow effect, too high, but the color's on black. And what that does is it makes it so it's dark. It looks like it's dark outside, just as a trick. But then when the light turns on, and make sure that there's a light outside, so when there's real lightning outside. So I put the color to white, so then the white is going to react when the impulse at that set amount of ticks and stuff will go by. And then the delayed impulse will send a 633 for a so it's going to be so it's going to say light not light, light not light, and then this is going to be white, and this is going to be black. You see, it's going to be black, so it's going to say white black, white black, white black, white. It's going to be on a constant infinite loop, depending on how many. So it's going to say lightning, and then all that, and then it's going to stop, and then lightning again, all that stop, and on an infinite loop of that. And then you're going to have the light. There obviously has to be light that travels throughout the world. So I used a custom light bulb that shines right through this area right here, okay? And what the light's going to resemble, it's going to throw in a light intensity of 10. The light color is at white, okay? And the range is at 1.0. It's going to be default light. So the light's going to flicker. So the light is on toggle, okay? And then it's going to do a delayed impulse again with the same delay as the other one, as the color. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. So don't get this. I know it's a little confusing. At 633, and then it's going to say off, because it's going to flicker and then it's going to be off. And then when everything starts up again, it's going to do all the things flicker and then off. Same with the color. The color, there's an on and then there's an off, and then this one there's a toggle and then there's an off because it's going to flicker. Cannot be on or else the impulse will not work correctly. And then that's the chain of events. Now that's how you activate the chain of events, and then there's going to be the sound source that reacts to this lightning, which is an off, an interval at 610, right? And it's turned off. You see how it's blank because the thing it's turned off. Then it's going to say toggle. It's going to toggle the sound like a flicker, just like the thing. And then thunder strike distance is the sound. Make sure it's always turned off. The volume is at 200% because lightning is very loud. Now this is an awkward camera angled map, so only custom angles at locked positions. Now I'm going to show you all this again from the different types of perspectives. So you need 2 on state events, 2 intervals turned off. You need 2 toggle state events. You need 2 more turned off intervals with the set amount of impulses. You see this? All the settings in there. This one does not need to have it. Okay. Then on this on top of here, it's going to do the color off, delay, color on, color off, delay, right? Color off. Then we're going to have light flicker, delay, light off, and then it's going to do the same thing. And this is, we're going to test the track out. You see that? That's a light. That's the lightning effect. What it did. You see how it looks kind of realistic? It looks like lightning, eh? It looks like lightning. We're gonna play it again. You see, all the shadings apply. Now we're gonna go here, and then we're the different camera angle view of it. You see how it does that? That's why I have that light source there. So it looks like real lightning. You know what I mean? Because I adjusted the lights correctly in the dynamic lighting. Now it looks like real lighting. And then a return strike with the sound. Okay. Now that's one way of doing lightning. Now we're gonna go to the light flicker over here, which is more organized so you guys could see it a little bit better. So I did 2 state events, an interval. This one's off. It's going to be at 5 seconds. This one's at 5 seconds. Turned off. They're turned off. I know they don't look like it. 2 toggle states. Another interval, which is going to be all these settings with 6 impulses. 133, and this one's, they're both turned off too, disabled with the same thing, you see. Now it's going to say the same thing. It's going to be this light bulb right here. If you see this light bulb, this little tiny light bulb is going to be the light set up. Okay, it's going to be off. The light is off. Then this is going to be black, so it means that it's a trick to turn this up. But the emission's turned up all the way, so you do not notice the glow effect. Now it's going to say on, delay, off. Toggle, delay, off. The reason why it has to be toggle because it's going to be flickering. It's not going to be just going on and off. It's going to flicker and then off. Flicker and then off. Flicker and then off. And then all these other things, what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay light bulb, let's turn on, flicker, 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 off. Wait a certain amount of time, flicker, 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 off. And it's pretty much doing a constant infinite loop of multiple impulses in one loop. And then you can also tie sound to this using the exact same setting, except using do light layer, then you have a color layer, then you can have a sound layer, and whatever else layers you may need to have a flicker effect. Okay, and this is what I used. Now we're going to play the track to see how it works. Alright. So now it's off. The light is no longer flickering right now with this map that I made. It's a pretty good map. It has my most likes. Now we're going to stop. Light flickers and flickers off, you see? So it looks like the light bulb is trying to work, but it doesn't want to work because there's a loose wire inside. I don't know how light bulbs work, but when a light flickers, it means that there's not enough juice inside the bulb. It's not trying to spark it on, meaning that something is happening there, that the light is busted and it needs a new bulb. So though the light tries to turn off, but it shuts off again. It doesn't constantly stay on. So that is one way to make a light flicker. Now we're going to show you one other variation of a light trigger later down on this map. Now there's a lot of stuff here, but the same thing here applies, you see? On. These are both off, you see? At 4 seconds, toggle. This one is on, you see the same thing, it's 6, the same exact light. It's the same exact light, so I don't have to go over it. See, the same exact thing, except it's more organized. And then, instead of that, it's going to be this light that goes, right? But physics are off, so this is going to be tied to a physics hinge, and the physics hinge is aligned to do a 3, kind of a dimension here. And it's going to be, this is going to be swinging, right? And then the physics are turned off, and this is like a hinge, like almost like a hook, where it's it's a joint, and the joint means that it's dangling. It's like dangling off the edge, you know, swinging. You know what I mean? And while it has the swinging effect, it's going to have a flickering effect as well here. So I'm going to show you the flicker effect by zooming in later on. Okay, so right here, it's going to activate. Now, that's a light flickering on and off. Alright. Now, if you notice here, I'm not going to stay here forever, but later on if you stay here for a while, this physics is going to start to slow down, because what I did is it stopped at an angle, right, when the physics turn on, and when the physics turn off, it starts to sway because there's a joint. It's dangling by a joint, and now you see how it's starting to slow down? What you could do is you can grab an area trigger only affected to that object, and then so the area trigger, so it pushes it almost like wind, but it's force, magnetic force, pushing it, so it can so it's like an infinite loop of a swinging effect. Or you could animate the object, right, to do it the same thing. But I think it's easier to make physics because physics are more realistic, but physics also screws up your frame rate issues, and animation does not screw up frame rate issues. That's the only, but it's harder to program. So I hope this video helped. Flickering lights are very hard. If this video was too complicated, I'm sorry, but I don't know how I can make it easier to explain. Just gotta pause the video, figure it out, write it down, because I had to write it down. This is the easiest way to make a light flicker. How to make a light flicker in an infinite loop. So if it helped, like, comment, and subscribe. And that's how you make a light bulb flicker in a post-apocalyptic world. Alright, see you in my next tutorial. Alright, have fun making tracks, and don't stress yourself out. Trials It's all about trial and error and figuring out what type of environment you want to create, alright? So just try not to stress yourself out and make stages. Remember, at the end, it's going to be your masterpiece that matters in the end, and then people will like it. Remember, create creative tracks, looking good quality tracks, and hopefully this tutorial helped. Alright.